Shalom, family. Good to see you all here. Hope you're doing well. We're going to talk about Donald Trump's, one of his billionaire friends have fled the country, and he is now living in Argentina. Isn't that where Hitler's men all fled to? Yeah, they all love Argentina. So, anyway, he played a big role in Project 2025, and he was the one that introduced JD Vance to Donald Trump, and he put a lot of money behind JD Vance during the election. So for him to just up and leave, that tells you something is definitely up. So his his friend Peter Thiel, and he was also advising Donald Trump, has fled to Argentina. They said his children are already going to school there. So that says a lot. It certainly does. All right. Let me share my screen so you can hear about this. Okay, give me a one if you can see my screen. Oh yeah, yeah. We know they're going to flee. They're going to go into bunkers. We know. We already know. Thank you.
Peter Thiel, MAGA Republican billionaire, has fled the United States, so to speak, and has moved to Argentina. What? What? Yes, he has left the United States. For those of you that don't know who Peter Thiel is, he backed Trump in the beginning. He spoke at the Republican National Convention. He huge backer of J.D. Vance for the Senate and for him as vice president. He helped create PayPal, Palantir, who's spying on everybody. He now has left the United States, at least on a temporary basis, and moved to Argentina because he's concerned about what's coming in the United States. He's worried where we're going. He sees the writing on the wall, I think, what's going to happen in November. He's worried about taxes on billionaires, which he is a huge one, 22.7 billion, I believe, is his estimated net worth. Which should tell you, for the Republicans and the MAGAs, they're not going to do well. He wouldn't be running away from the U.S. if that were not the case. Also, guess what files he's in, and guess who he hung out with, and guess who had investments and other things together? Yeah, him and Jeffrey Epstein, too. That's another whole story. Peter Thiel, who lived both in San Francisco and had a huge place here in Miami and South Florida, has just moved. It's been announced in the New York Times, about a $12 million mansion, and has moved to the United States because a lot of concerns on where the United States is going. And that's not a good sign for Donald Trump, right? I would think if things he thought were going great, he'd still be here. Donald, writing's on the wall. MAGA, y'all can't see it either. It's okay. But Peter Thiel left for a reason, and it's not a good one. Now, he is buddies with the Argentinian far right president, Javier Milei. But MAGA, that should tell you something. The Democrats, that should tell you something too. It's good for us, bad for them. Let me know what you think. Peter Thiel is not leaving because times are good in the U.S. for Republicans.
What is it really about Argentina? Because Peter Thiel just purchased a large mansion in Argentina, a few $1 million in the tens, with a lot of land, and he's abandoning his residence here in the United States. Peter Thiel is Palantir. Palantir backs Trump, and especially JD Vance. JD Vance wouldn't have been where he was even at without Peter Thiel's millions. But back to Argentina, because we just gave Argentina all this money, right? Argentina also uses their own dollar and the US currency. So when we gave them money, we printed off money and provided it into their system because they eventually run out of dollars. Pay attention. We already told them that we're going to be purchasing their beef, but America has beef. Beef is so great that a lot of countries don't want to consume it because our companies that run the food chain are pumping them full of antibiotics. They're sick animals, and people are finding abscesses in their chicken and their beef. And remember where the hantavirus supposedly started? At a landfill. Where? In Argentina. Now, I'm just looking at things broad brush. But what is it about Argentina that we don't know? Let me know what you guys think about this. But very interesting that he decided to go ahead and jump ship right before the next civil war, because that's what it feels like is coming. Don't forget to let me know how y'all feel about this. Share it out, ask questions. I love to read more and know more. Thanks for watching.
Peter Thiel is off to Argentina, and this World War II historian wants to chat. Yes, I'm in bed. No, I don't care. And JD, Mr. Maybe It's Maybelline Vance should be a little concerned about his buddy leaving. Stay with me. This could be a longer one, and it's bad news for JD Vance. Really bad news. So, Peter Thiel, the man who bankrolled JD Vance essentially and is the reason why he's the VP today, almost single handedly, has said he's very concerned about the state of the country, the United States. So he has fled to Argentina, where apparently he is friends with the president there. Now, we have seen this pattern play out before. Okay, here's my little historian spidey senses coming in. You see, some folks in Germany, when things started going all cattywampus haywire for them, they fled to their friend Juan Perón, who was the leader of Argentina in the 1940s. Now, some of them we knew about, some we found out decades later. Any whoosie what's it? Why is it so bad for Vance? Well, he's already facing speculation and rumors that people are saying he's not going to run in 2028 because he's not very popular. He's not very well liked. His policies are not popular. And you know what? Mr. Maybe is Maybelline is right. He got up there in front of a podium and said, "You can't boo me because I'm the vice president of the United States." Now, if you had any charisma, personality, or literally anything going for you, you wouldn't be bragging that you can't boo him because you are the vice president. And when the right wingers start fleeing to Argentina specifically, that's usually a pretty good indicator for everybody else that doesn't agree with them. Now, I'm not making any judgments on the government of Argentina itself, but we have spent billions of dollars of taxpayer money to shore up the Argentinian economy and government. Yeah, the Tangerine Man sent money over there. So I would keep an eye out for others who may or may not venture south. And we find out about it weeks or months later. We're going to have to keep watching this, but it's not looking good for Mr. Maybe It's Maybelline.
So Peter Thiel just bought a $12 million house in Argentina and moved his family there. His kids are enrolled in local schools, and the New York Times reported that part of the reason is he's concerned about Americans' future, especially California's potential tax on billionaire wealth. He's one of the core beneficiaries of the American power system, and he does not want to be taxed to pay back to the society that helped make him rich. He's going to continue to extract money, contracts, and political influence from the American system while moving his personal risk somewhere else. Think about your own situation. Are you worried about American future? Jobs, rent, medical bills, retirement? What is your option? Can you move somewhere else cheaper? Or do you have to stay here? No options at all, except to keep going and pushing. He can move to any countries he wants and still extracting more from the American people. For decades, people like Thiel push in one direction: cut taxes, cut regulation, and break union, push healthcare, education, and infrastructure towards privatization. Capital gain tax lower than wage tax, and let wealth accelerate towards the top. And all this is the result we are having right now. These policies produce concrete results: stagnated wage, unaffordable housing, medical debt, and all of that. These oligarchs and corporations build the machine, and this machine made them extraordinarily wealthy while causing society to become more fragile, more divided, and more unstable. Now the machine is actually showing some serious stress. People like Peter Thiel does not want to fix what they helped break. Their response is to buy a house in a rich neighborhood in Argentina and move his family there, while his business is still running in America, collecting profit. Personal risk gets distributed globally, and this is how it works, how the class action operates. When crisis is happening, the first thing is they will keep harvest the benefit and share no risk and no sacrifices. People like them, they will secure their exit first and leave the bill to the working class people who have no choice, have to stay. He is not afraid America become harder to live in. The struggle of the ordinary people does not concern them, does not threaten his profit margin. His logic is very simple. He does not want to pay the wealth tax. He wants to keep extracting from the American people, and he wants to move his family himself outside of the risk zone. Meanwhile, you stay here. Your job, debt, and healthcare are all here. You are just like a human battery powering this capitalistic empire, and somewhere, somehow, for them, far away, they enjoy all the profit. More contents on Substack, link in bio, and thank you for all your support. I really appreciate there. And you can subscribe for my newsletters almost daily, and link in bio. Take care, guys.
Pretty big news right now. Peter Thiel, who helped build Donald Trump and the current state of the United States of America, is leaving to Argentina and setting down roots in another country. According to the New York Times, Thiel is allegedly concerned about America's future, and so he has temporarily relocated to Argentina. He had a home in Miami, home in Los Angeles, and now is going to Argentina. Peter Thiel, if you don't know anything about him, he's a major right-wing donor, major donor to Donald Trump, major close ally of J.D. Vance, literally is responsible for a lot of what we're seeing in the United States today. And now he's temporarily relocated given his concerns about America's future. Now, part of it is due to billionaire taxes that he's worried about, but he's also worried about nuclear war and runaway artificial intelligence. And he's become a close ally to Javier Milei, who's the current Argentine president. This is a story worth monitoring, and I'll have more updates for you soon. As always, follow along to stay updated on all the news you need to know about.
A great morning. First transitional blush, now Peter Thiel. He's running away like his predecessors in World War II. Interesting. Argentina? Hey, Pete. Are you scared? Are you scared, little Pete?
Everything in this video is alleged. My personal opinion is just one quick take about something that's really bothering me. Y'all know who this man is? That's Peter Thiel. That is who bankrolled and created J.D. Vance and put him personally in a position to be vice president. Peter Thiel is another one of Donald Trump's large donors, another man who has Donald Trump's ear. Peter Thiel is making news today. Why? Because Peter Thiel is relocating to Argentina. Why? Because of his concern for America financially and logistically, safety-wise, let's just say allegedly. That's a problem. And on top of that, sources for the New York Times had an article today where they said that J.D. Vance really isn't sure about a 2028 run. There are things going on in the background, baby, that we are not privy to, and I don't like it. I am very uncomfortable with it. It kind of terrifies me a little bit. What's going on? What's happening? Why is J.D. Vance now all of a sudden thinking about not running in 2028, especially when his main backer, donor, financial person is moving to Argentina? Why would Peter Thiel be moving to Argentina? What does he know that we don't know? One thing I know for sure, if we want an indication of what's happening up there in a world of the elite, which is going to roll down to us eventually, watch the billionaires and how they move. All them bunkers being built, they wanted their bunkers built so fast. Now they're relocating to other countries. Baby, this is not a good sign. I'm sorry. I don't care what y'all say. And please spare me the bullshit about he's trying to get away from the billionaire tax, because we all know millionaires and billionaires don't pay taxes. They have a million and one ways to go around paying taxes. So I'm not trying to hear that either. There's something else happening behind the scenes, like I said, that we don't know about, that's making these people leave and run. If Elon leaves now, Ashley, come. What do you know, girl?
We should all be very concerned about Peter Thiel. The guy practically built Donald Trump, funded JD Vance, and pushed the US into political disaster that we're currently living in. And now he wants a break. According to the New York Times, Peter Thiel is moving to a $12 million mansion in Argentina because he's worried about the future of America. He is allegedly terrified of a runaway artificial intelligence and nuclear war. And he wants to wait it out in Buenos Aires with Argentina's president, Javier Milei. Oh, and he also running away from the possibility of California passing a billionaire tax this year. These guys built a machine that destabilized the entire country. And the second it starts to look bad for them, they just fucking up and leave and buy a compound in the end of the world. They don't stick around to live in the mess that they created. They just pack their bags, secure their cash, and leave the rest of us here to deal with the fucking fallout. The people who break the system are never the ones who have to live in it. So all you MAGA and Republicans that still making excuses for all the rich people, corporations, you need to take a look at this article.
Peter Thiel has spent the last 2 months moving out of the United States. He's choosing to move to Argentina. He spent the last 2 months meeting with Milei and his ministers. He's purchased a mansion in one of Buenos Aires' most exclusive neighborhoods. He's hosted dinners with local economists, and, well, he's continued to court Argentinian officials. Why? Because according to people close to the right-wing tech billionaire, Trump donor, and JD Vance backer, he is motivated by concerns about the future of the United States, and he shares closer beliefs with the Argentinians and their right-wing leader than he does with the next group of people to be in power in the United States. Peter Thiel is taking these same measures and the same route to the same country as the people who 80 years ago acted exactly like him. They all left Germany and went to Argentina. Peter Thiel's going right back to where people just like him escaped. And they escaped all sorts of punishment and being held accountable for their crimes. And he has many crimes that he should be held accountable for.
We shall see, because usually, these billionaires, they got information we don't know. He didn't flee for no reason, that's for sure. He fled for a reason. So I'm sure he sees things are not going well. I know it's not going well for Donald Trump. In fact, I was looking at a video that was talking about his approval rating, which is horrible. So maybe he sees that this place is never going to come back. This is really it. So he took the time and he fled to Argentina. Damn, Donald Trump, you're firing people, and now folks are fleeing out of here that was once part of your little inner circle. They're fleeing now. And it's no coincidence that he's putting a 30,000 foot bunker under there, where he could literally put his entire family in that bunker. Everybody, his kids, his grandkids, 30,000 feet, that's a lot of room. And he would be able to literally put everybody down there. Trust me, Donald Trump ain't putting that bunker together for no reason. Even he knows something is coming. He knows. That's why he's putting a bunker in an underground hospital and everything, because they know what's coming. They know. And he knows that their time is up. And as far as Peter Thiel, honey, you can't run from the Most High. He'll find you no matter where you go on this planet. So, y'all, I'm going to go ahead and conclude. Thank you so much for being here. And we're going to talk about at 5:45 Americans that said they are permanently leaving or they're already gone and they have no plans to ever come back to America. So that will be at 5:45. So I will see you then. Shalom, family. Oh, hold on. I do see somebody in here. John L., thank you so much for the super chat. My order of the 4-pack deal came today. Thank you, Lisa. Oh, you're welcome. Hopefully, within the next few days, everybody will have their orders. Everything went out. So you should have your orders soon. If you don't get it Saturday, you should definitely have it at least, especially if you ordered in the early part of the week to the mid part of the week, you should have it in the beginning of next week. So y'all have a wonderful afternoon, and I will see you at 5:45. Shalom, family.